My name is Leah Dobbs-Black, and I'm the ESL Program Supervisor for Shelby County Schools. In addition to supervising the ESL program, I coordinate the Title III grant as well. I'm privileged to be with you to share some back-to-school notes and reminders related to English language learners and immigrant and migrant students. Related to registration, I just want to be certain to remind you that many of our English learner families and immigrant and migrant families may not have access to computers or devices that enable them to complete the online registration process. So if you would please make available a device, a Chromebook or a laptop, for them to be able to access SCORE to complete the registration procedures, that would be most appreciated. If you notice that they are struggling with completing that process and they need assistance, if it's language-based particularly, you're more than welcome. Please contact our office and we will assist them in completing the information online. But if they are also struggling with skills such as keyboarding and completing the information, we're also happy to assist with that as well. So please do contact our office so that we can assist them in completing the online registration procedures. Related to enrollment, I would like to remind you that we are to remove barriers to enrollment for English learner, immigrant, and migrant students. Some of these barriers could be due to situational reasons, such as moving in a hurry and not having the paperwork, such as a birth certificate, where we've had students who have left war-torn countries and they didn't have all of their documentation with them. Other times, though, many of our students do have their birth certificates. A lot of times what we encounter are students not having immunization records or other health documents. Also, another concern may be having proof of residence because of living with other people, and not being able to afford rent on their own. If a student lacks custody or guardianship paperwork, we need to not hold up enrollment, but work with our student services department in conjunction in communicating with our department so that we can assist with the communication with the family. We need to be certain that we don't chill enrollment for the student and their family, meaning that we don't make them feel uncomfortable. I do encourage you to be cognizant of where you're having conversations with families about particular components of these details, and to be sensitive that you may want to ask them to move to a quieter space, not in the office in front of other team members or families who may be enrolling or handling business in the front office, so that you can ask them about details related to their enrollment. Even in speaking a language other than English, other individuals around the office may understand the language that you're using with the family, and then the family who is in the office may be aware or sensitive to the fact that others are overhearing what is being said. So I do encourage you to move them to a quieter and more private location if we need to inquire about details that would be more sensitive in nature. Within the registration packet or online registration procedures, there are two questionnaires or surveys. One is the home language survey. That pertains particularly to all students who are new enrollees to our school system, and that lends itself to us understanding if a language other than English is in the home of the student or in the student's background. And with the answers to those questions, then we know if we need to screen the student for limited English proficiency and to determine if the student needs to be in ESL. Within that same questionnaire, we do ask the family if they prefer communication in their home language, but that is not the basis for why we would screen a student for ESL services. It is the reason why we screen a student is if the family identifies that they speak a language other than English in the home, or that the student themselves speak a language other than English, and that is the language that the student prefers to use most dominantly. The second survey is the employment survey, which helps us identify families who may be migrant. And a migrant family is a family that is employed in particular areas of agriculture, and that do move quite frequently, sometimes many times during the school year or from school to school in the various school years, and move year to year to year around with their students moving for cultivation seasons. With vaccination records, immigrant and migrant and English learner students may lack having one of those when they come to enroll. We are to remove that barrier, but we also should help assist the family in understanding where they need to go to have a vaccination record. Some of our students will come in with a copy of a vaccination record from their home country where they're coming from, and that would allow us to see, the nurses to see which vaccinations they do currently have, and we can accept that as a temporary record. But we can allow a student to enroll without a vaccination record and allow them time to get the vaccination record and have it on file. If there are questions or concerns related to this particular procedure, you can contact me or Teresa Daly, our county nurse for the school district. Regarding age placement into school, when a student has had interrupted schooling or the school year doesn't correspond to our school year here in the United States, your registrar or you will contact my office or your grade level coordinator, and then we will have a conversation together as a team to determine what is the best placement for the student. For a student who's 16, and even though they may have interrupted schooling, we are going to go with a high school placement. But again, we will have a conversation around what is the best placement for the student. Connected to that then is also transcript evaluation for students coming with international transcripts. That is an evaluation process that typically those transcripts come to me, and I work to evaluate those with the head of guidance and testing, along with our secondary coordinators, in looking at the courses that students have had and then determining what credit we can award that is equivalent to the courses that students have taken, so that then they can continue to progress toward graduation, or where we determine, again, grade level appropriate placement. Translation and interpretation. As we're cognizant to make certain that we're communicating with a family and our students in a language that they understand, we do have resources available for both interpretation and translation. Dolly Chavez here in the ESL office does assist with all translation of county documents and can assist your school in translation of key components of school documents that need to be translated for your families, such as school handbooks and the most crucial pieces that need to be translated. When we get into day-to-day repetitive pieces of communication, we'll work to evaluate the importance, and if there's something that we can do to help a family understand that, and whether or not we need to actually translate it in written format. Google Translate does work, but we need to be very careful in using that, making certain that the translation is correct. And that's true whether it's Spanish or any other language. I would encourage you that if you use Google Translate, that when you translate from English into the target language, that then you back translate it from the target language into English, making certain that you receive back in English what you intended to say. Because with dual meanings of words, many times in an electronic translation format, you will wind up with an inappropriate meaning of a word in the target language from what you meant to say in English. Related to interpretation support, you will see the link there to request an interpreter. We do request a week notice in requesting an interpreter for a meeting. There are times, yes, we understand when we need an interpreter faster than that. Dolly is available for more immediate needs for Spanish. But when we are having larger meetings where we need to arrange for interpreters, we do ask for a week lead time if at all possible. We do also ask that if you don't submit a form, but you have used RTT using RTT does not require submitting a form, but when you use the mobile translation number or the phone-based interpretation information, we do ask that you notify our office of your utilization so that we can cross-reference the utilization in order to make certain that we're being appropriately charged for the services. Here you will find information about the timeline for referral and placement into ESL. This also pertains to our recurring students who are returning from one year to the next, related to the timeline that we have in having their annual meetings. Our returning students, we've had conversations in the spring and even coming up related to their access test results, making certain that they're placed appropriately for this school year. However, there is a timeline in which we have to have a meeting with their parents and with the EL committee at your school, outlining the plan for this current school year and having that plan signed off on. But similarly, we also have to have meetings on newly enrolled students. We have 30 days if students enroll prior to or on the first day of school to have those meetings. After the first day of school, any new enrollee, we have to complete that process within 10 days. We are planning and hopeful to have virtual meetings again this year. We found those to be most expedient and had better participation with parents this past year, and believe that will work well again this year. However, if it's possible to have in-person meetings or a parent needs to have those, we can facilitate that as well. Related to ESL staffing, I encourage you to review this page. And first and foremost is just making certain that ESL teachers are used for that particular purpose in serving and meeting the needs of ESL students. If there are questions or concerns regarding the needs of ESL students and also then the utilization of ESL teachers, please contact me. Grading and monitoring of English language learners. English learners are graded using the same grading procedures and grading scales that we have for all students. English learners are to receive accommodations and are to have their instruction administered in a way or led in a way that follows their English learner plan that's individual to them. A student cannot fail on the basis of language. So a teacher, all teachers of ELs have to be certain that they are accommodating for the students and being very strategic in their instruction such that they are teaching the student in accordance and making content accessible at the level of the language of the student so that the student can engage in learning at his or her language level. Subsequent, not only to grading, is that we also monitor the progress and the language performance and the performance behaviorally and academically of our English learners and our recently exited students every 9 weeks. This is performed in our Elevation platform, and you will see the link here in the PowerPoint that you are receiving as well. I encourage you to go to this link. Each of you has a login. You have received a reminder email invitation to the Elevation platform. As an administrator, you have a login that allows you to see a dashboard for your school that includes the statistics of your English learner population. But then you can also go into your student list, see each student's assessment results, their IELPs, their performance descriptors, and any notes. You can make notes on students during PST meetings, RIM meetings, any intervention meetings, or any time that it's pertinent to maintain an aspect of a record on a student that needs to be cumulative over time as an English learner that will help in making an instructional and support decisions for the EL So I do encourage you to go to elevationeducation.com there and utilize your login to look at your EL student information. Other odds and ends is here is just to point out the needs that ESL teachers will have to work on data and records of English learner students as we start the school year and at times throughout the school year. Also, to remind you that we are available, Cindy Cox and I, from here in the ESL department to provide professional development for your teams at your schools, teachers of ELs. We have funds to pay for the substitutes where we actually come to your campus and provide the workshops there on campus in a format such that your teachers are not out of their classroom all day, but where we provide a rotating schedule for all teachers of ELs to participate in the professional development and teachers to still have access to their students instructionally so that we're getting instruction ongoing, but still also professional development. And we follow up with coaching of implementation of instructional strategies for ELs at the outcome of these workshops. So please do consider taking advantage of this professional development in your school. The last slide here is our contact information. We are here to serve you. It is our pleasure to work alongside you as we support our English learner families and our students in our schools. We have amazing students throughout our schools of all forms, shape, and size, and linguistic abilities. Thank you so much, and we're looking forward to a great school year.